What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another Patreon album tier request from my man Sverrir Thor. Now I'm pretty sure I've got that name right. He did tell me before that it's pretty spot on, so I'll take it. Sverrir has used the Patreon album tier, which you guys can avail of. Patreon.com/DrewFortune if you'd like me to check out your band, someone else's band, a band that you've been listening to for years, and an album that you haven't particularly, seen many album reactions to on YouTube. Whatever it may be, guys, whatever it is, album reactions, if you want to get one, patreon.com/DrewFortune. What more do I have to say, guys? This is Sverrir's message that he sent me. So he said, yo, bro, don't know how the album tier works, but I guess I should just shoot you a message about it. I'm doing this album tier out of the goodness of my heart. I appreciate you, brother. To bring the glory of Greyhaven to as many people as I can. Since the album I'm requesting is Greyhaven, with the album Empty Black. Greyhaven is a metalcore band from Kentucky, same city as Knocked Loose, with a sound that I would describe as If Every Time I Die and Norma Jean Had a Baby. Again, two bands that I've not heard anything from, so that could be, a cool segue into doing these guys next, but we'll see. The true core kids in the audience will know that both Norma Jean and Every Time I Die are true OGs of the metalcore scene, and bands that you need to check out at some point, not only for being great music, but also for the influence they've had on the metalcore scene over the past 20 or so years. Greyhaven have a very OG metalcore sound, incorporating the chaotic hardcore sound mixed with southern rock of Every Time I Die, and the huge groovy riffs and passionate vocals of Norma Jean. Their 2022 album, This Bright and Beautiful World, was one of my favourite alone, with counterparts, yikes, laugh my ass off, because obviously I didn't love that album when I checked it out, but anyway, that's for another day, or you guys can check that video out, or it's already on the channel, and Boundaries of 2022. But their best album, at least in my opinion, is their second album from 2018, Empty Black, which is what we will be checking out today, of course. Greyhaven have, from the start of their career, with their first album, Cult America, being a working class hardcore band, thematically speaking. Okay. From the get-go, their lyrics have been about the American working class and their struggles. However, with their second album and latest from 2022, they've had very environmentalist message, writing about the oil industry and how it has ruined not only human communities, but also the planet, especially on Empty Black. Their vocalist is one of my favorite singers in the world, having a very bluesy voice while still managing to incorporate a very angry hardcore screaming style as he sings about these issues. The main reason I want to request this band is that I feel they're extremely overlooked in the metalcore scene. Everyone that does know about them loves them, but they haven't managed to hit the mainstream in a big way. I think that sucks ass, since they're incredible musicians with a very important message that I think more people should hear. How much of this wall of text you want to put in your video is up to you, obviously, but if there's one thing I want to get across, it's that for everyone watching/listening with even a slight preference for metal or for hardcore leaning metalcore, please check out Greyhaven. Empty Black, while in my opinion their best album, is just one of three absolute fantastic pieces of art that I think more people should experience. So if anyone watching this likes just one song, please check out Cult America and This Bright and Beautiful World. Support great artists. Support important messages. Thank you. Now that is a very, very, very well structured and thought out comment from my man Sverrir. So first and foremost, thank you for being so passionate about the music, and thank you for supporting me as well. So guys, hopefully I'm gonna like this. Again, goes without saying, if I don't, I'm still going to say it, even though it has come with a beautiful message from Sverrir, but this is just unfortunately how the world works. If I don't like it, I'm gonna say it. So guys, this is Greyhaven's Empty Black from 2018. Let's jump into it. This sounds exactly like the intro to Knocked Loose, a tear in the fabric of life. I need to hire this up. Very low mix.
Got me spinning on the bathroom floor.
So far, instrumentally, not as jarring as the likes of Counterparts' album, which I just didn't really fuck with that much. Straightforward, relatively easy listening. Vocalist is pretty good. Okay. Let me have a look at this album artwork while I'm listening. What have we got here? Like 3 eyeballs. A lot of wires tied up. Some flowers. Empty Black is the album name. Interesting. Very artsy album artwork. Don't know exactly what they're going with there, but the contrast between technology and right. Yeah, so let me just bring us back because I know we just got a mental intro there. First and foremost, I want to do one thing before we go any further because that light in the background is cutting right through the lyrics and I want to make sure people can read it at home. So we just move that light slightly. Now, that's a little bit not better. I didn't fix anything. Haha, there we go. Right, perfect. So, yeah, intro to this band. Not a bad one. Unfortunately, what can happen is with these tiers, I get the impression from Sawyer's message. Now, again, it's 1 track in, so I'm going to just basically call it how I see it so far. I got nothing from that message that suggested that this was an album that he thinks that I would like. More so, I got the impression that this is an album that he loves and wants to get the band's name out there, which, of course, there's nothing wrong with. But it just means I feel like I'm going to be maybe critical of this album because already the intro, like I've just come off the back of listening to the Dali Thundering Concept with their album Savages from 2018. And that album absolutely blew my jocks off. So I'm worried that this album is by default not going to be anywhere near as good. And already it's not blowing me away. It's a 1 track in, so I know I need to cool the jets a bit. But just from the message, there was nothing that really stood out to me from Sawyer's message other than just trying to promote the band, which of course is what people can do with the tier as well, by all means. But it just means I'm going to be honest as well, which could ironically serve as counter promotion for the band. But I guess everyone just needs to make up their own mind, and that's important. So let's go back to the end of this and let it flow in. But I'm being hyper observant and critical right now. This is 1 track. Wasn't my favorite track.
Break apart the earth, death
like the little accent on his vocals there. Little MJ vibe. This track's definitely better. Yeah, some cool transitions between riffs, some cool tapping riff moments. Overall, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing special, I guess. There's some cool vocal moments. Probably the standout for me is the vocalist on that track with the, I don't know if it's like a vocal inflection or like a kind of an accent at the end of some of the words he was saying. He's like, ah, so it just kind of adds that cool, like, nuance to the overall sound. But nothing mind-blowing. Not playlist for me, but we'll continue on with Echo and Dust Part 1. Hello? Why is it not working? It literally says, Spotify says can't play the current song. Okay, now it's playing. That was, I have reacted to so much music on Spotify and that has never happened once. Like, it was playing, you guys could probably see it down the bottom. I don't know if it was showing on the indicator on screen, but it got to like 10 seconds and then a little blue message came up and said can't play.
Listen, be your
this feels a little bit repetitive. Alright, I like this. This is pretty cool. Yeah, I know like tracks with a double chorus like is a fairly standard song structure, but sometimes they just feel a little bit more repetitive than others. Now that was part 1, so I don't know if we're gonna get a part 2 within this album, or is that like a later part of the discography? Not entirely sure. We'll obviously find out. But yeah, I mean, I like the alarm style riffs in that track. Some cool moments. I always appreciate when bands do use, you know, make the most of the instruments that they have and they don't, you know, add in the alarm style in post-production. So it's cool to see that kind of thing where it creates like an almost a picture, like just from the sounds they're making, you can like almost picture a scene. I've had a few bands recently that have done like cool alarm sounds. I think Hive was one. And you know, just I gotta point that out. Again, it felt a little bit repetitive. It was obviously a fairly standard strong song structure with verse chorus, you know, kind of bridge into the breakdown, and then we had the outro. Cool moments in the outro, I guess, but nothing standing out to me, nothing I haven't heard before. Not bad music by any stretch. It's definitely more accessible hardcore than, I think this is like progressive post-hardcore is the actual definition from what I can see online. But it's not doing much for me, can't lie. But this is Mortality Rate. Yeah, best track so far, 100%. Bridge, like this bassy undertone. Let's go, come on. Yeah, credit where it's due. This is a good track. Loving the harmonics, the bends. Gives it a real groovy feel. That bendy riff is nice. Yeah, that's best track for me so far. Love the double bass in the intro. Guitar was cool. 10 Dogs, Red Heaven. What a weird fucking name. I'll come back to all this. I'll let it flow though. It was a little bit empty, the mix. Okay, that's better. I'm loving some of the tones we're getting in this track. Alright, I think the guitars on that track stood out to me the most. We had like a kind of a wet sounding tone guitar. I think the tones of the guitars overall, we had some cool changes throughout. Intro was quite a light, wet, like a liquid sounding guitar. A lot of delay on it. And then we got a dirtier, distorted tone. Solo as well, but it was only like a few seconds. Production sounded a little bit weird there. It's got like very distorted on the bass. The low end is like really muffly. I'm gonna pause after this track and speak for a second. Yeah, I like that track. Let me touch on something here real quick because I was about to speak about it anyway, or at least I was including it in my notes for the end of the album, but I'll touch on it now because it kind of almost live contradicted myself without saying anything, but as I was writing it, it was contradicting what was going on. So I was just writing that for like a con of the album for the outro. Like I just feel like nothing has emotionally captivated me at all. I wear my heart on my sleeve on these videos. Like I literally have cried on multiple videos, so there's, you know, no denying that. I guess if something, you know, gets me in any way, shape or form, whether it be like a happy emotion if I'm enjoying the track, or if you know, something upsetting me, I just let it all spill out as if there's no camera watching or anything like that, you know, or at least I try to, you know, I try to be as genuine as possible if I'm just listening to music by myself. So I was just saying, like, I was writing that down, and then the chorus, or I don't know if it was the chorus from a structural standpoint, but just reading the lyrics right about here. I really like this part. Kind of felt like a little bit emotional listening to this part and reading the lyrics. Yeah, so like as I was writing this about like feeling no emotional connection to the album whatsoever, I get it's my first listen, so sometimes you need time with an album for any emotional connection, but I just mean from like an overall like direct feeling that I'm getting from it. It's just nothing is like making me really excited. Nothing's making me feel very emotional when I'm listening to it. It doesn't have that like ambience or even just that like mellow enough tone or overall feel to make me feel sad or anyway. Not that it has to, but I just don't feel anything so far listening to it. But that did kind of contradict what I was thinking a little bit. So I'll leave that in as a con. But however, I kind of have to admit that that was quite a nice lyrical moment. I think that the delivery and the overall tone was quite nice. I love the lyrics as well. Again, vocally showing some versatility compared to the rest of the album. We got a slower track for this. Yeah, nice change of pace overall. Probably one of my favorite tracks on the album so far. But yeah, let's go.
could have said to me. I said it myself. That's what death is going to be like. And oh, what fun it would be. I crawl down the river and fall down at a glassy maze. A new sky hovers above me. I can't recognize anything. Stand out, loading up my race. Stand out, I can't recognize this place. And whose world am I? Trespass in old clothes for my time I'm with you. Setting eyes on me now. I have found out, falling and farther, and I can never leave. I can't be bothered about my health. When I got the stupid in me, falling and farther, and I can never leave. I can't be bothered about my health. Can't you see that they're coming in as they package your burial?
I guess it's that Norma Jean groove that Sverrir was talking about. Sverrir, sorry, that name is very hard to... Stereo. Again, I have no reference to the two bands that he was referring to. Norma Jean and Every Time I Die. So I can't really say, oh yeah, that's that sound. But he did mention the groove of Norma Jean, so... Cool transition, I gotta give it to him. It's a pretty fucking cool transition, but... This one's gotta be tough for my man, Sverrir. Sverrir. That's such a hard name to say, Jesus. But unfortunately, I have to be honest with these reviews, and we will discuss everything in the outro. So far, this is just like... It's not like a bad album. It's just like, I feel like I've heard something in this ballpark so many times in so many different albums. It's not exciting at all. Shoegazy here. Reminds me of a band. Oh man, who is it? It's not Carnival. Oh, that part really reminded me of a band. I can't remember who it is. Another prog band. Tone sounds like Gojira. That's pretty cool. Something different. Whoa, 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 whoa. I believe this is the last track. No, it's not. Wait, what? Is it? No, because we have a part 2 to get to, don't we? We do. Here we go. Echo and does part 2. this is probably the outro. And I will discuss the album after this. Yeah, this is the last track on the album, so we'll get into it, lads. We'll get into it. I like that, a little fake out. This is boring the life out of me, I won't lie. It's unfortunate because I am... I'll speak after. Oh, this is going to be brutal. See, this is what I kind of anticipated happening a lot more often with the album tier, but this is actually the first time of the, I believe, 6 album Patreon tiers that we've gotten that I've got to just... Like, it's not even that brutal. Like, it's not a bad album, and I'll go through a lot of my points, but I think, like, towards the end, I was just ready for this to end. It's, like, not like it's unlistenable. Like, I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, it sounds so shit. It's just... I have written down on my notepad here, what does this band do better than any other band? Like what, why would I go to this project over like any other project that I've listened to on the channel? Like, that's not even like me trying to be disrespectful in any way, shape or form. That's a genuine question. If someone can answer why, you know, I guess for Sarir, who requested the album, like, what is it that makes these guys so stand out to you that it would be worth going with the album tier? And this sounds horrific. I mean, this sounds so bad. Like, I'm listening to myself right now and like I sound like a fucking dickhead. But I honestly feel like I have to, like, this isn't like me asking condescending questions. Like, it's just, I'm asking genuine questions, but they do come across as really arseholy. I just got to be completely honest, because otherwise I think the alternative is that I just kind of beat around the bush and say, hey sir, thanks for buying the tier, and you know, I appreciate it, man, and you know, wasn't my favorite, but we're just going to move on to the next one. You know, I'd rather be like very critical when I genuinely don't like something. And I won't lie, this did feel a lot more like it was Sverrir trying to get the name of this band out to the channel, which, I mean, look, I'm not saying that no one has to like this. Of course, there's going to be people that love this music. And I'm looking at album reviews on a website here because I was just scoping around while listening to it. And like, it's getting really good reviews, or at least it has, on a website called, what is it called? What's this website called? I don't know which website it was. I was on, I can't actually find it now, but I was on a site there and it was basically like getting pretty high scores. So like, I can't say that, like, you know, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but I just got the impression from that message that it was more so about the music that he loves, sending it to me, and, you know, having me review it, which I guess isn't always the worst thing in the world. And I'm guessing I'm not always, but if you want me to review something, I guess the focus, if you want me to be positive about it, should be focused on what I have previously liked, because I don't think I've ever really liked things that are in and around this genre type. And I'm really struggling here to be, I'm trying to not sound like an arsehole here, because I actually feel like one. I'm not gonna lie, this feels horrific, but I have to keep that integrity in mind. So this is exactly how I would react to this album if someone didn't come forward and pay for it, you know what I mean? So I have to keep that same integrity in mind. So track 1, I literally, the note I have on it is nothing to write home about. I can't like really pick out what I do and don't like about it. It overall, like, the whole album isn't like a bad listen. It's not a bad album. It's just not really for me, and it was a bit boring. Blemish was the second track. I like the vocal section with the like accent / like vocal inflection. Again, I'm not a vocalist, so I don't exactly know what that is, but you know, guys, where I'm talking about, where like at the end of his vocal, he like, woo, woo. Some cool tapping riffs. We've already discussed all these cool transitions between riffs. Again, overall, nothing that special. A lot of the moments I've kind of heard in different tracks before. So yeah, like cool vocal moments in that track is probably the take home. Then we end Echo and Dust Part 1. I like the alarm style riffs. Did feel a little repetitive with the chorus. Again, I know the nature of chorus is to be repetitive because they want to keep you engaged, I guess, and you'll start singing along with it, but it didn't like have that like catchy feeling enough to feel like it wasn't anything but just repetitive. Mortality Rate, the double bass from the drum work was pretty cool in the intro, really punched through the mix. I think that was the best track up until that point, and I believe I did like that one as well. I like the pinch harmonics and the bends. That really added a nice groove to the track, and the vocals were quite impactful. They felt like the most useful vocals up to that point, so that was my favorite track at that point. Let me actually just open up the album here and see. So I liked Mortality Rate and White Lighters. That was it. And then we had 10 Dogs, Greyhaven, which was yeah, I liked the kind of watery tone to the guitar. Let me just get it up real quick. Yeah, very liquid. I old school sounding guitar work. I like that. Cool transition, like from the wet sounding guitars into that, you know, grittier tone. The tones in this track really stood out. The guitars overall, I think, on this track were they kind of stand out to me. There was a quick like lead solo segment, but it was quite abrupt. It only lasted for like 5 seconds or so. Then we moved on to White Lighters. Intro was a nice change of pace again. This is the one that I liked. Vocalist showed off his versatility. Loved the lyrics, which is the moments that I discussed in the middle of the video. You know, quite touching lyrics, and it was got across. Like sometimes the lyrics can be touching, but the way the vocalist actually, you know, gets them across isn't the most impactful way. So this one definitely felt like a powerful track. Kappa, again, nice groove. Again, just kind of boring. Didn't really do much for me. There was a cool like drum roll transition from Kappa into Day Is Gone. Again, I'm really kind of like scraping the barrel for things I liked about this album. It all just felt like one big kind of like boring skip album to me. Day Is Gone, which is the track that obviously we rolled into from Kappa. The drum work continued, so we got like a nice kind of drum feel that rolled into Day Is Gone, and then it continued all the way up to the chorus for Kappa. Then it kind of got boring again. I'm not gonna lie, I just started to lose interest in the album at this point. Then we got like a dissonant breakdown moment. Then it got kind of cool again. Swelling guitars, you know, really like there was like a swelling guitar moment in that introed into the outro riff, if that makes sense. It was kind of like a breakdown at the end of that track. And then Broadcast Network, I have liked and then I stopped typing, so I don't even know what I was really talking about there. But overall, listenable. But there's just so many better projects. I will not be returning to this album anytime soon. Like, what does this album do any better than any other project? I guess if you're really into that like hardcore sound, I guess you're gonna love this. But to me, I just much prefer the metalcore style that I've been loving on the channel for so long, that you guys have seen me loving. Yeah, so I have like cons. This is again just kind of like a roundup. Nothing special. I've heard this sound 1,000 times. Like, I've heard something that sounds at least like every part I heard of this track or this album sounded quite similar to, at least, like, there was nothing that was like, oh, this is really new. And again, this album is falling a little bit victim to the placement of it, because I just listened to the Dali Thundering Concept Savages album, which was absolutely insane. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If something affects me emotionally, I show it. And this album did absolutely nothing to bring any real emotion out of me, apart from a few like kind of facial expressions with some cool riffs. But I mean, that's not going to be enough to sway me for an entire album. Apart from that White Lighters track, obviously, which is where I was actually typing out the comment about wearing my heart on my sleeve, where you guys have seen me on this channel so many times where I've like really like gotten emotional about certain tracks, whether it be from a sad standpoint or it was so good and overwhelming that I got emotional. So I try to just be as genuine as possible with these. And if something gets me, it gets me. And this one just didn't get me at all. And then another point I have is it just felt boring. It felt boring. And then the next point, and the final point I have, is it's so boring. Towards the end, I just got really bored. So that is very harsh. I feel a little bit bad, but at the same time, I have to keep the integrity. Sarir, this is nothing personal, of course. No one's gonna think this is personal. I don't know why I'm thinking that way. But obviously, when someone's, you know, supported me, and Sarir's been around for quite some time. I know the guy's name, so I really appreciate, first and foremost, getting involved. But look, that's just how the cookie crumbles, and I think everyone would prefer me to be honest in this situation. So yeah, let me know if you would prefer me to be honest, or should I sit here and just be like, oh man, yeah, thanks for that. Anyway, like, that was a great album. Anyway, let's go on to the next one, guys. This is why I like to take the notes as well. Because it allows me to actually put my thoughts as they're happening into words. Sometimes it can be quite hard to really sum up why I don't like something. Sometimes you just don't like the sound overall. But here, look, I'm trying to justify a lot of the things. Like, here, it feels like I'm getting to that point now where I'm trying to justify to you guys, just didn't fuck with the album. That's all it is. That's like, it's on to the next one, really. But yeah, guys, if you did enjoy the video, leave a like, I guess. This is always a weird one, because like, these videos tend to just be like quite strange, because people who are going to watch this video are probably fans of Greyhaven, and I've just sat here and shat on it for an hour. So now it's like, drop a like, I guess, because people who don't like the album are probably not going to watch the reaction. So it's like, the only people that are watching are people that like the album, and it's like, or people that are just curious. And because I haven't really been fucking with it, I guess people probably just click off. So the people that are left here are probably just very angry Greyhaven fans. So I'm sorry. If you wouldn't mind, leave a like. If not, it's understandable, whatever. Guys, yeah, that's all from me. If you do want to make use of the Patreon album tier, then please do so by getting involved in the description of the video, patreon.com/DrewFortune. Again, Sarir, appreciate you, man. And I hope this doesn't ruin our relationship. But yeah, look, that's just how the cookie crumble, guys. I'm signing out. Look after yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.